Hi, welcome to Reality Check. I'm Wang Guan. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo recently spoke at the Copenhagen Democracy Summit, asking Europe to join the U.S. in forming a global anti-China alliance. Pompeo called Beijing a rogue actor, repressive at home and aggressive abroad. Therefore, Europe, which shares America's democratic values, must stand up against China the way the Trump administration has. Listen to what he said.
I've seen tyranny firsthand, and I have dealt with all manner of unfree regimes in my previous role as director of the CIA, and now in my current role as Secretary of State of the United States of America. The choice isn't between the United States, it's between freedom and tyranny.
So, it is about the free versus the unfree. Really? What about May last year, Mr. Secretary, when you led the administration's effort in selling $8 billion worth of weapons to Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Jordan? In order to bypass objection of the Congress on this sale, your administration even declared a national emergency against Iran. None of those Gulf states was considered free by Western commentators. Of course, China is different, a holistic threat according to you, and an expansionist military power threatening regional stability and world peace. Listen to this.
The PLA has escalated border tensions. We see them today in India, the world's most populous democracy. We watch as it militarizes the South China Sea and illegally claims more territory there, threatening vital sea lanes.
Yes, there was a deadly clash at the China-India border, and there were disputed territories. But even India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi said after the clash that China did not enter or invade the Indian territory. On Friday, June 19th, Modi said, "Neither is anyone inside our territory, nor is any of our posts captured." And on China threatening vital sea lanes, well, numbers suggest the sea lanes have always been open for commerce. Trade between China and the ASEAN countries, which mostly go through the South China Sea, has been steadily growing. Even estimates by conservative U.S. think tank CSIS, which is staffed with China hawks, showed that trade through the South China Sea remained stable over the years. Yes, there are competing territorial claims in the area, but what's little reported in the West was the fact that China and the ASEAN have engaged in multiple rounds of negotiations over a South China Sea Code of Conduct, with a first draft already completed and a final draft in the works. Now, this is interesting, as Secretary Pompeo was issuing dire warnings about China undermining European democracies. He got this question from his European host.
I've got a question from the audience. I read it. Do you understand if European friends and allies see a threat to democracy generates from the US due to a slow and dangerous breakdown of state institutions and democratic principles?
At the end of the day, many argue that China-EU relations will be guided by interests and values of the Chinese and the Europeans, more so than the dictates of Washington. Not to mention the fact that Washington's dictates for Europe to get tough on China has a lot to do with getting the optics right at home in America for Trump's re-election, which is his top priority right now. Yes, there is a stalled investment treaty between China and the EU, and the two sides do have different political systems, but those have not stopped the two sides from working together. EU is China's largest trading partner, and China is the EU's second largest. The two sides have also been working closely on security issues such as the Iran nuclear deal and global challenges such as climate change and, more recently, COVID-19. In fact, 2 days after Pompeo's anti-China plea to Europe, the European Union held a summit with China. The President of the European Council and the President of the European Commission issued a joint statement saying that China and the EU have different values, political systems, and approaches to multilateralism, but the EU will continue to engage and cooperate with China, which is both an opportunity and necessity.